and welcome to this India Today special. What does a Liz Truss Prime Ministership mean for Indo-UK relations? We're joined by the British High Commissioner to India, Alex Ellis. Appreciate your joining us, Mr. Ellis. Before I come to what Liz Truss Prime Ministership means for India-UK relations, a lot of the editorial commentary over the Conservative race for Prime Ministership was that Rishi Sunak has lost out because of his ethnic origin. How true or how valid is that?
I think the Conservative Party leadership contest shows the extraordinary diversity of the UK in leadership roles in politics as elsewhere. Of the 8 candidates, only 2 were white men. Don't forget, we've got our 3rd female Prime Minister now. We had people from all over the world who come to the UK and shown their talent in the UK, which Rishi Sunak is one. There are others as well. So actually what I think it shows is the extraordinary diversity of the UK.
Because there was a lot of excitement in this country because Rishi Sunak was running for the top post. So a sense that someone of Indian origin could become the Prime Minister of Britain had excited people in this country.
Yeah, it's completely understandable, I think. But what you do see is, you have chancellors of some of the top universities, one born in Hyderabad, you have people in the BBC and all walks of public life. Our politics is getting more diverse as our country gets more diverse. And you saw that in the Conservative leadership race.
Liz Truss comes into Prime Ministership at a time of grave difficulty within Britain. Cost of living up, high inflation, high energy prices. A feel-bad factor at the moment, it appears, recession around, the spectre of recession. Is that going to mean that Britain will look more and more inwards at the moment rather than strengthening relations externally?
Any Prime Minister coming in has to deal with the economic and domestic situation. That's the first imperative of any Prime Minister. But in truth, the internal is also the external. One of the reasons why there are high inflation in the UK, high energy costs. Why is that? Because President Putin's Russia has just invaded Ukraine and is now playing around with energy in order to try and extract concessions from other countries, which we're not going to go down that line. It also means that India becomes even more interesting to the UK. And I agree with what Prime Minister Modi said in his comment yesterday when he welcomed Liz Truss's election and said that he thought had confidence in strengthening the relationship. I share that confidence as well, because I think that India's growth, and India's growing well, is going to help the UK, and hopefully British growth can help India, including through a free trade agreement.
You mentioned the free trade agreement. The 5th round of talks were held towards the end of July. When Boris Johnson was here, there was a sense that the agreement would be concluded, a free trade agreement between India and the United Kingdom, possibly by the end of October. The change that has taken place at the top in Britain, does that change timelines in any way?
I don't think so. Liz Truss was here in February of 2021. She really kick-started the whole trade agenda, the new trade agenda with India. And we followed through on that on both sides, I should say, to the benefit of both countries. You're absolutely right. The negotiators have been hard at it over the course of this year. We've got through the foothills, and now we're getting to some of the higher peaks. That's obviously tough. But the officials have been speaking regularly over the last few weeks, and I would expect now strong political impetus from both sides to try and conclude an ambitious deal.
So what you're saying is end October, possibly around Diwali, which is the festive season, we could see an India-UK free trade agreement.
What I'm saying is a tremendous, I think, desire on both sides to try and do the deal. It has to be ambitious. Obviously, it has to be balanced for both sides. But I think there are tremendous mutual benefits to both sides in doing that deal. Economic benefits, but not just, also strategic benefits. If we look at the world we're in now with Putin's invasion of Ukraine, if we look at what's going else, there's a certain degree of insecurity. So both sides want to get closer together in order to create, for example, an open and stable Indo-Pacific.
The concern, of course, was that Boris Johnson had a special relationship, in a way, with Prime Minister Modi. They got along very well.
They did.
The chemistry worked very well. Now you've got Liz Truss in place. Will there be some element of uncertainty? The chemistry may not exist at the very top. Are those concerns valid? Should we be looking at them? Are we sort of entering a possible area of rediscovery, in a sense, at the very top?
I think we've seen that there's a comprehensive strategic partnership between the two countries. So that's going to outlast, I think, any individual. And we've also seen Liz Truss. She's been here 3 times in 18 months. She was on the deck of the aircraft carrier, our aircraft carrier, last October. I was on the deck of the INS Vikrant on Friday as well. She has referenced India several times in her speeches over the last few months, including during the leadership campaign. So I would expect ambition, determination, and so I'd agree. Minister Jaishankar said, when welcoming her election, also said that he had confidence in her commitment to strengthen the comprehensive strategic partnership. So I think we can go further and faster.
So are we looking at change with continuity? That while you have change in the individual, you still expect continuity in the nature of the relationship?
I think that's what we need. This is a good relationship looking forward for the next 25 years. I think the UK has a lot to offer India in terms of the vision of India becoming a developed country by 2047, which I heard from Prime Minister Modi at the Red Fort. So we need to go further and faster, and that can be on defence, that can be on security, that can be on trade. Let's not forget the living bridge as well, the number of people who are flowing between the two countries. India now beats every record in the UK in terms of visas.
And all of this is happening in a week where India has crossed the United Kingdom and become the 5th largest economy in the world.
Yeah, that's great news. India's growth is good news for the UK as well. India will grow further and faster. I hope India overtakes other countries in the next decade, and I'm sure that it will.
Because the narrative was 75th year of independence. Look at it. We have gone ahead of our one-time colonial masters.
And that's fantastic. At the same time, I think we just about managed to draw the Test series after a very tight game. So England cricket's doing quite well.
I would have thought you'd say speak a little bit about the cricket. Let me end, Mr. Ellis, though, with for Indian audiences, how should they see Liz Truss? They knew a bit about Boris Johnson. How should they see her? She's a bit of an unknown to our audiences. Is she someone who will be surely not as flamboyant as Mr. Johnson, but someone who you believe wants to have a special relationship with India?
She is the cabinet minister who's visited this country more than any other cabinet minister since I took up this job 18 months ago. She knows India, she likes India, she loves Indian food, she draws tremendous energy from the country. She's been here in Delhi, she's been in Mumbai, and I'm sure she's going to enjoy coming back here at some point.
In fact, I believe she has a special equation with Piyush Goyal. They've been discussing various things over the last year or so.
She's gone on very well with Piyush Goyal, with Mr. Jaishankar as well. So I think that, and I've seen the response of Prime Minister Modi, I think there's a lot we can do together over the next few years.
And since you pushed a cricket question in, let me end with a cricket question. Who's going to win the Asia Cup? India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka or Afghanistan?
There are some things on which the British High Commissioner should remain silent.
Thank you very much, Alex Ellis, for giving us a glimpse into what Indo-UK relations will look like in a Liz Truss Prime Ministership. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was Alex Ellis, the British High Commissioner to India. Thanks for watching.